This has got to be the year. Got to be the year to beat Michigan if you're Penn State and at Ohio State. Now, Penn State's pounding of Syracuse last week, that was just the latest humiliating blow to a once proud program. Syracuse used to be a supreme power in the Northeast. As recently as 2001, they had their 14th straight winning season. But lately, Syracuse is a laughingstock. Greg Robinson is 7-31, more than half those losses by 3 touchdowns or more. He's overseen the only 2 10-loss seasons in school history. Every Saturday is very public pain for a program that was once a beacon. They had the first African-American Heisman winner in the late, great Ernie Davis, whose far too short life has been celebrated in the movie The Express. That's the backdrop. As Mark Schwartz reports, the frustrated greats there believe that the current Syracuse program has lost the plot terribly.
They're not making major motion pictures about football at Rutgers or UConn.
Look at that young man go!
The Express immortalizes Syracuse football. It's the story of Ernie Davis, who followed the incomparable Jim Brown and preceded the incandescent Floyd Little.
We've had great teams, great tradition over the years, have played in many bowls.
The Express may be on schedule to become a box office success.
And this one's in the books. The Orange, with a stunning loss, fall to Akron.
Meanwhile, the Syracuse football program is careening off the track at breakneck speed.
I don't see the competitive spirit that I'd like to see. I don't see the hitting that I'd like to see. You know, I don't see the intensity that I'd like to see. So it's not just a matter of losing, it's sort of the way we lose. It doesn't really give you any hope.
Hope vanished September 6th during a 42-28 thrashing at home by the University of Akron, a team picked to finish dead last in the Mid-American Conference.
Fire Robinson! Fire Greg Robinson!
As the coach at Syracuse, if you play Akron 1,000 times, how many times do you expect to win?
I don't know. I think that's, we expect to win a lot more than we lose.
I expect 1,000.
Darryl Gross is the athletic director at Syracuse.
We're Syracuse. We should beat Akron. It's that simple.
Gross left USC after 2 national championships and hired Greg Robinson in January of 2005. Since both arrived 4 seasons ago, Syracuse is in the throes of the worst chapter in the 120-year history of this program.
Who is most responsible for this mess?
Greg Robinson. Unquestioned, Greg Robinson.
Axeman at ESPNRadio1260.com.
Brent Axe is a radio talk show host in Syracuse.
George W. Bush has better approval ratings right now than Greg Robinson has.
For a school that puts stars like Marvin Harrison, Donovan McNabb, and Dwight Freeney into the NFL, the most startling recent change has been a lack of talent. Syracuse used to snap its fingers and practically handpick the best talent in New Jersey. But things have changed. Schools that Syracuse fans used to laugh at are now beating the Orange to players they used to count on.
Other teams in the Big East kind of got their act together. Greg Schiano built up the program and started taking some of those players.
The quality of players that you can only attract are the ones that nobody else wants.
The dramatic decline in talent was painfully evident during the most recent NFL draft, when not one Syracuse player was selected, the first time in 33 years.
You can have limited talent and make good tackles. You know, you can have limited talent and you can fight your butt off.
They know from the deepest part of their heart that I'm giving it everything I got. I think Jim Brown knows that. I think Floyd Little, they know that. That doesn't satisfy what they'd like, but I think to a man, they know that I'm busting my tail to get it done.
All I'll simply say is that the football is bad and we definitely have to do something about it.
Wow. The great Jim Brown has spoken there. I mean, Robinson's in his 4th year of a 5-year contract. I know you don't take pleasure in the pain of any coach. You struggle, not like that, not quite like that, but you struggle. What's wrong there?
Well, I'll tell you what, Kirk. Syracuse football decline started, I think, when longtime athletic director Jake Grodhamel retired, and the Orange hired a guy from the West Coast for the athletic director named Darryl Gross. And Darryl immediately, with a brilliant move, fired the head football coach who'd been there a long time, named Paul Pasqualoni. Well, Paul's record was 107 wins, 59 losses, 1 tie. The guy had 1 losing season in 14 years. He's 6-3 in bowl games, and they fired him. Dumb decision. Now, the next thing that happened, Gross brought this West Coast philosophy into the athletic department. It ain't working. You know why it ain't working, Kirk? They lost 24 years of recruiting base and Dick McPherson and Paul Pasqualoni. 24 years shot because a guy wanted to turn Syracuse into USC. Ain't the same place, mentality-wise or culture-wise. That is when they declined starting the football, when they hired Gross as the AD. That's my opinion, and I'm sticking to it.
Now, Darryl Gross just signed a new extension as athletic director, and if you look at their entire athletic department, Syracuse, outside of football under Darryl Gross, is doing a great job and very competitive and has really taken it to a different level, especially in the Olympic sports. Now, Lee talked about Paul Pasqualoni, and anybody who watched Syracuse play in the 80s and into the early 90s knew that Syracuse was as athletic as any team that they went up against. The reality, in the last 3 years under Paul Pasqualoni, they were 16-20 and struggling mightily in the last 3 years. In my opinion, a move needed to be made. He made a move. It hasn't worked out. And the rise of UConn and the rise of Rutgers has taken away the base, the foundation of what Dick McPherson and Paul Pasqualoni were able to build. And that's why now they're sitting here and they don't have any athletes. Every great coach has personnel and has athletic ability to work with. They don't have anything to work with right now.
I want to rebut one thing you said. The guy was 16-20, right?
Last 3 years.
Isn't that a hell of a lot better than doing now in 4 years? Just thought I'd mention it.
You know what?
They take 16-20 right now and go to the bank with it.
And if UConn and Rutgers can build winners, and they have in recent years, why is it so impossible for Syracuse to get back? They've done one thing. They've joined the party in college football. They've scheduled a 1AA team for the first time in a long time. They got Northeastern today. And pay attention to this score. Way down there in the agate in your newspaper tomorrow, because if they don't get the win against Northeastern, I don't know. I don't know if they're going to get a win this year. That's possible.
Got to beat, who is it? Who they got?
Northeastern.
Northeastern. You got to beat Boston.
I'm going with Syracuse in this one.
Oh, you got to pick
there
Syracuse.
you go. Good
All right.
Good
Your guy Gross. All right.
Yeah.
Coming up, we're going to